Welcome back to the weekend. 100 days, folks. The urgency is palpable for Democrats. With only 100 days left until the 2024 election, the DNC is working to recalibrate its convention now that Vice President Harris is almost certain to be the party's nominee. And the candidate at the top of the ticket has also changed the landscape for down ballot races across the country, because every seat in the House of Representatives and 34 seats in the United States Senate are up for grabs in November. For our special coverage of this 100 days milestone, let's see how the leaders of the Democratic Party's crucial campaign arms are working and how that's coming together to turn Washington, dare I say it, blue. Joining us now, Democratic National Committee Chairman Jamie Harris. Chairman's in the house. I'm so happy to see him. Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee Chair, Congresswoman Suzanne DelBene. Thank you, DelBene. Thank you so much for being here. And Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee Chair, Senator Gary Peters. Welcome to all of this. Is like a full complement, Simone.
This is we love to see it. And, we always, Lisa and I joke that Michael misses beating up on Democrats. And so, I think it was just great that he got to read that script. Mr. Chairman, we're going to start with you, Jamie Harrison. Obviously, yesterday was the deadline for anyone else to file if they intended to run for, put their name in the hat to run for president now, because Joe Biden had stepped down off the ticket. Did anyone else put in before that filing deadline yesterday?
Well, Simone, there were some inquiring minds, but let me just say this. Kamala Harris is the presumptive nominee. She is getting overwhelming support in terms of signatures. And we see the excitement that her campaign is bringing not only to the Democratic Party, but to the country. I mean, when you think about it, we've had Black women for Kamala Harris, Black men for Kamala Harris, Latino community for Kamala Harris, white women for Kamala Harris, and tomorrow there's a white dudes for Kamala Harris. I have never seen this type of energy, this type of organizing, grassroots organizing, in all of my years of being involved in politics. She's raised over $200 million, 100,000 plus volunteers, and the DNC is also benefiting greatly from that energy. So our vice president is the presumptive nominee. We will have the official vote on August 1st. And, folks who have inquired, they have up until July 30th to get their 300 signatures. But
it's good. It's good. Talking about that energy, Congresswoman, it is palpable, and it's important for the DCCC to be a part of that and generate. I mean, there's a lot of, I think, in Washington right now, the general view is Democrats pretty much have the upper hand in the House. We'll talk about the Senate in a moment. We've heard about the Project 2025 effort of the Heritage in the Trump campaign. We learned this morning that the DCCC is putting out, information for down ballot races at the congressional level to make that part of the narrative as well. Talk to us about what that strategy looks like and how it's playing out.
Well, we're going to hold House Republicans accountable for their extremism, for the chaos and dysfunction. I mean, we're not even going into session this coming week because they can't govern. So we're going to hold them accountable for that and the positions they've taken. They want to put in place a nationwide abortion ban. They want to cut Social Security, Medicare. They want to make it very difficult for middle-class families and increase costs for middle-class families. I mean, that's Project 2025 right there. And so we have incredible candidates across the country. We have incumbents running for re-election in tough battleground districts who are doing an incredible job. We have been running ahead of Republicans this entire cycle because we have great candidates, because people want to see governance work. And Republicans can't govern. They've been taken over by the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the most extreme members of their party. And so we are in a strong position. We know when we get our message out that we win. And so that's really our focus in a lot of races, because we got a lot of races across the country. Like you said, we're all up every 2 years. This is an important time. And so we only need 4 more seats to take back the majority in the House and have those gavels and have Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. And that's what we're focused on. And we're in a very strong position.
Excellent.
Senator Peters, you are equally bullish. You have an op-ed out now in MSNBC.com. Just this morning, you say you have never been more confident in Democrats' odds to hold the Senate. I want to hear both why that is and why you think Republican Senate candidates have had such a difficult time nationalizing their races.
Well, I am very optimistic about our chances, but let's be sure everyone knows these are still going to be very close races in our battleground states. So we're going to need support from folks out there volunteering, contributing. We still got a long road ahead, but I'm very optimistic. As I said in the op-ed, is that it's really about candidate quality, and that's why we continue to see Senate candidates doing very well against their Republican opponents. We're right on the issues, and quite frankly, you see a lot of these Republican candidates are flawed and oftentimes deeply flawed. So when you put that contrast against each other, it puts us in a very, very good position. But we're going to have to work hard. And the thing about our Senate races is that for the most part, are in battleground states. So having a strong Senate candidate and a strong Senate campaign also helps. Vice President Kamala Harris in her race for the presidency, we're going to be helping each other to make sure that we all go across the finish line. And as you know, a majority in the Senate is essential when it comes to helping President Kamala Harris. When it comes to all of her appointments, they need advice and consent. And let's not forget the judiciary. We've got to have a judiciary that believes in the rule of law, and that's why we have to have a majority in the Senate, bring back our incumbents, and we have some pickup opportunities as well. But it's absolutely essential to governing. It's absolutely essential to supporting Kamala Harris when she is elected to be president, which is why we are all in. And just like last cycle, folks didn't think we could do it. People said, Gary, you got a really tough road here. We made history. We held the majority. We picked up a seat, first time since 1934. And we're going to do it again. We're going to hold this majority and make sure Kamala Harris has a great team in Washington to have the positive change that she's so passionate about and we are so passionate about.
So,
yes.
So I got chairman to chairman. This is our corner. Nobody's listening.
Yes.
This is the two of us talking.
Congresswoman,
here.
I'm very glad you're here.
So between what the Congresswoman and the Senator just said, I want to read something to you that I think is fascinating. Tallahassee Democrat, regarding the election in 2024. Quote, with nearly 30% of Florida voters not affiliated with either the Republican or Democratic parties, Democrats believe that if they deploy an army of grassroots volunteers to make phone calls, knock on doors, and engage public displays of support, they can flip the state of Florida in November. That's how much the landscape has changed in just 30 days. In this race. Talk to us about what, as you're looking at deploying your resources, are you looking at a strategy that will have Republicans fight on turf that they shouldn't have to fight on, as well as defending and aggressively going after spaces where, you've got some spots you've got to defend as well. Right. You know that. Yep. But that speaks, when you hear talk like this, that kind of talks to the change in the landscape on the ground for Democrats in states like Florida, Georgia, for example, North Carolina. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, you all know I'm acolyte of Howard Dean in the 50-state strategy.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
And so for 3.5 years, and I give Joe Biden and Kamala Harris credit for this, because they have been the president and vice president. They have leaned into investing in the infrastructure of our Democratic Party. Part of how we beat back the red wave is because we built an infrastructure in those state parties to equip them and to coordinate with our sister committees at the DCCC and the DSCC and the governors to equip all of those states and state parties to be able to have that grassroots operation to win the close elections. And so we got an amazing chair in Nikki Fried just this weekend in the Villages. And the Villages is a ruby red.
Oh,
there were 500 golf cart seniors riding around, and they were white, riding around, and probably voted for Trump previously, supporting Kamala Harris. I mean, I am seeing stuff that I have never seen before. We have now in this country, we have over 1,100 staff across the country in our battleground states. That's not counting in our non-battleground states. We have over 200 offices across the battleground states. We are supporting also through our Red State program states that are not battleground, but we believe we can be competitive.
Make some inroads in, yeah.
And so that's happening right now. This is an energy on the ground I have not seen since Barack Obama in 2008. And I'm telling folks, don't sleep on Florida. Don't sleep on North Carolina, because we are going to have the boots on the ground to win one of those tight, close elections.
And well, it's the same thing I said, Simone, to the party in 2010. Don't sleep on these states. Don't sleep on these races, because despite what folks around Washington may say and think, who typically don't really know how to do they talk a lot about campaign, but they ain't much in what the chairman and I know you have to do. That's how you avert a red wave.
Exactly.
That's how you win in 2010.
Well, I mean, I think it sounds like what Senator Peters was speaking to and what Congresswoman Del Bene was saying. And I know that the strategy for House and Senate races is still to localize, is my understanding, to localize those races, but you all are hoping to benefit from the enthusiasm. And Congresswoman, the fundraising from the House Democrats arm specifically is remarkable. The DCCC outraised the Republican counterpart by $7 million last quarter, and then more than a dozen non-incumbent Democrats, meaning not already in office, brought in more than $1 million from April through June. What are you going to do with the cash advantage?
Well, we're playing in races all across the country. And so this is, and they were talking about different states. I mean, we have opportunities in Alabama and Louisiana and Iowa where we are on the ground and can flip seats to help us take back the majority. So we need to make sure we have resources in every district, not only to combat the disinformation and attacks that will come against candidates, but also to be on offense, to make sure we can remind folks what Republicans stand for, remind them about Project 2025 and the policies they want to put in place, and make sure that folks know we have authentic candidates who actually will come to Washington, D.C. to govern. People want to see governance work, and we have folks who aren't interested in governing. They're more interested in waiting to hear what Donald Trump tells them to do, or dressing up like him and following him around. I mean, that's unfortunately what House Republicans, the state they're in right now. So we need to use those resources, because we know when people hear our message that we win, and we got to make sure we turn out votes all across the country, which we're collectively doing together.
Senator Peters, I want to pick up on Simone's question there as it relates to the U.S. Senate and the necessity to localize some of these races to the extent that that is possible in a statewide race. Candidates like Senators Tester and Brown, they do need to distinguish themselves from the national party brand. And so I wonder how you both could give them space to do that while also tying them to the legislative accomplishments of the Biden administration.
Yeah, it is absolutely essential that we do it in those states. I say, when we talk about battleground states, our battlegrounds also are states that are not battleground for the president. The state of Montana is not likely to be in play, but Jon Tester is a strong candidate. He is running against a highly flawed opponent. And he knows how to win in tough races. The same with Sherrod Brown in Ohio. That's going to be a tough race, but Sherrod Brown knows how to win. People in Ohio know him. He's authentic. And it is about localizing these races. We understand that's tougher to do, but the way I look at it and the way I talk to candidates, and certainly the way Sherrod and Jon operate, is that they run not as a senator or a congressperson. They're running like they're the mayor of a town. What is it locally that's important to the people in that community? And when people realize that both of them fight for Montana and fight for Ohio, and that's what they put at the top of their list, they're able to connect with folks in a very meaningful way. And it is about a ground campaign. Back to the talk about ground and doing it in some tough turf, that is what we did last cycle. In fact, for the first time in DSCC history, we invested more money on the ground than we did on television and media. And I knew all these were going to be battleground states. And you know, I don't think one extra TV commercial or 5 extra TV commercials when you're being bombarded by TV commercials at the end of the campaign matters. It's about knocking doors. It's about having people talk to their neighbors and neighbors talking to neighbors. That's how we win in Montana and Ohio. It's how we're going to win in Florida and how we're going to win in Texas, plus bring back all of the other states where we have either incumbents or, in Michigan's case, a challenger, but one that we have to win.